Well, we made it to the Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland, Missouri, and my first thoughts on this place is wow, what an unbelievable facility we have here. This place is top notch. I don't think I'll ever be to a nicer facility. There's so many great things about it. First off, we got the racetrack here, which looks perfectly sized. Got good banking in the corners. It seems like down here it gets a little bit more up on the fence than turns 1 and 2. It's almost hard to put all of this into words. Throughout the vlogs, day number 1, 2, and 3, I'm gonna try to show you guys different parts of this place, as well as have some phenomenal racing on the track. So we're gonna get night number 1 of the Hockett-McMillin Memorial here at the Lucas Oil Speedway underway. Remember, we are absolutely living the dream, and I just wanna enjoy the ride this weekend because there's so many cool parts about it. There are so many cars here in the pit area at the Lucas Oil Speedway. We just fired up and got some heat in the engine. Tonight's rundown, we're gonna have hot laps and then right into our heat races. We just did the pill draw. I ended up pulling an 87 out of 120, so I'm gonna be starting 8th in heat race number 1. With this format, that's not really the greatest spot. Usually you wanna kinda try to start in those first 2 rows and then just hang out there in the heat race. Even if you do start in the back, it's not a terrible thing if you're in one of the later heats. Hopefully tonight it's not super hooked up since we're gonna be some of the first cars on the track. Hot laps will be up next though. I'll kind of give you guys an update on what the track looks like. So far though, it looks smooth. They've kind of been prepping it all day long, preparing for a lot of cars to be here. Just got done with our first hot lap session here at the Lucas Oil Speedway. Being in the first heat race, the first cars to hit the track, still pretty slimy, so we didn't really get to be wide open. Still kind of got to mash on the gas a little bit, but obviously the times got way faster. Now we're getting ready to roll out for our heat race. My first initial thoughts though, really cool, super wide. I think it's gonna be kind of racy. It's starting to get a little slick entering both corners, but other than that, I think it's gonna be probably wide open. So just try to go out there, be smooth, starting 4th row outside. We need to try to pass as many cars as possible and put us in a good spot for the qualifier. I'm gonna get in. These guys are giving me a good setup. Carly's working hard, everyone's working hard. So it's just fun to be back here in Missouri. We're enjoying the ride, living the dream, and we're gonna be heading out for the heat.
try to get that wing off. So you already take the lines off and put them on this? Yeah.
the bolts for that are on top of the hood.
Okay,
On top of the wing.
just set it here for a second. Pretty bad heat race there, guys. Car's all back together though, so that's good. There really wasn't actually too much damage. Top wing, front nose wing, Jacob's ladder, and a few other small parts really didn't do that much damage. I think the other guy really got the worst end of it. Just a bad start there, kind of. I mean, actually a good start in the sense we got going good there, cleared the guy on my inside, and then was actually going in to get sixth. And one thing you'll notice, Tim Crawley, he was the other guy that was right in front of me, and then the car that was right behind me, we kind of both entered on the bottom, and there was just still a little bit of grease. You can see I'm all the way sideways almost, and I tried to let the car not drift up the racetrack, and the guy on my outside, he just was there, and in my opinion, it was just a racing deal. I feel terrible about it. You guys know I don't drive dirty. I respect others' equipment just as much as mine. And I just got in, I was sliding, there was nothing I could do. I was on the brake to try to keep the tires down and keep the car on the bottom side of the racetrack, but just slid enough, we kind of just caught perfectly, and it sent us both over. So super disappointing. It just, it sucks. That's the bottom line. So now we're gonna be way behind the 8 ball. We haven't even really got a whole lot of laps tonight, so not a good start to our Hockett, but like I said, it sucks that we tore up our own stuff and that the other guy got a really bad deal. So my apologies there. It's just hard racing, I guess. So now we're gonna be in the back of a B main event. I think we're just gonna go out there and just try to pass some cars, get some good laps, figure out to get better for tomorrow. So that'll be up next. We'll see where we start, but obviously in the back of a B. overall, a pretty crazy night here in Wheatland for the Lucas Oil Speedway Hockett-McMillin Memorial. Ended up going 20th to 7th there in that B main event. The track was prime, right around the top side. The bottom still had a little bit of grip. Many guys were making it work, but it seemed like the high side was definitely preferred. We really were able to dial in the race car for that B, even though we didn't have many laps on the racetrack tonight. As you guys saw, we had a rough heat race there, and that really just set us back. From there, we weren't really sure what to do to the car, you know, because our first true laps really around was that B. In hot laps, we were kind of in the mud, pretty greasy. So I feel like we made the best of a bad night. Now, obviously, we didn't turn it around completely. We weren't able to put it in the show or even the LCQ, but we passed a bunch of cars in the B main event, and I felt like I was smart. I ran the bottom a little bit, I ran the top, I even tried to throw a slider down in 3 and 4, which is unique here because you carry so much speed on the bottom and then it almost flattens out off of 4, so you have to really woe it down without getting over the curb. So we missed the transfer into the LCQ by 2 spots. Like I said, it's frustrating that we didn't have a great first night, but we definitely turned around with very minimal laps on the track. And we didn't do any more damage to the race car. It is in one piece after fixing it there after that first lap wreck in the heat. Now really what I'm gonna do to become a better race car driver, obviously I've never been here to Wheatland, so I'm gonna go up, watch the LCQ, watch the A main event, and try to absorb everything. Really study what these really good drivers are doing, running different lines, slide jobs, and all the moves they're performing. I think that's really gonna better us going into night number 2. I think if we could have got through that heat race and been in a qualifier and got through that, I think we definitely could have been a threat to run really far up front in the A main event. We had good speed there in the B, just we were so far back, and with only 1 yellow, it's tough. What do you do? So overall, had some fun and made a little bit of a comeback there, and now we'll be on to night number 2. Now though, I'm gonna go watch and study what I can. Well, night number 1 of the Hockett-McMillin Memorial here at the Lucas Oil Speedway did not really go as planned for us. You guys saw, we just had a long night. First off, with the ASCS format, we ended up in the first heat race, which isn't bad if maybe you're on the first or the second row, but we started row number 4 on the outside, so 8th, and we knew we had to go forward. And you guys saw what happened there on the first lap of the heat race. I just wanted to say I take full responsibility for that. I watched the video back a few times from the top angle, and I slid up. That was not the intention. Obviously, it was an unintentional incident. I was just trying to drive hard into the corner on the bottom, knowing I had a car on my outside, and get in far enough to stick the bottom. The problem was once I got down there, I realized it's still a little greasy, and at that point, it's just hard to control the race car. I was on the brake to try to keep it on the bottom, but there just wasn't a whole lot I can do. So that's 100% on me. I feel terrible about that incident because not only did I wear out my car, but I destroyed someone else's. At the end of the day, the deal just sucks. It's hard racing. It kind of just how it is in those first few heats. As you guys know, when the track is fast like it is, you kind of have to make moves as quick as possible in those first few laps, because when a track is hooked up like that, everyone's going to get spread out. So if you don't make something happen quick, you're going to be stuck with where you started. But we got it all fixed up, and then we really got our first laps around the racetrack there in the B main event. Passed, I think in the last clip I said I started 20th. It was somewhere in there, you know, anywhere from 18th, 19th, 20th, and we ended up coming home 7th. So we passed a bunch of cars, came up a little bit short of the LCQ, but had an absolute blast. This place is insane. Not only do we have a great racetrack that was smooth, no bumps on it, unfortunately, it did take rubber in the A main event. I don't think they got a chance to go out there and do some track prep. They already had done that earlier in the night, but it was already like 2 a.m. by the time the A rolled out. One last thing, when we did have that deal happen in the heat race, I just want to thank everyone that pitched in to help me get it fixed before the B. We have our next door neighbors here that are non-wing guys from Texas. They helped get it fixed. It's awesome to see the racing community jump in and help one another. Anyway, just want to thank all my sponsors: On-Site Screeners, Swindell Speed Lab, Durango RV, Ferguson Waterworks, Knife River, ABC Powder Coating, Pit Stop USA, North Medford Les Schwab. We also have Lafarge, QRC Carts, OMA KTM, Fast 4 Media, and Carson. So it's just awesome to have everyone on board helping me out. We'll see you guys all for night number 2 of the Hockett. It's going to be a blast. You guys are going to want to stay tuned for these videos. See y'all in the next one. Deuces.